get to the bottom of all this aristocratic flummery. Nobody ever comes up here, did they say?
Except Sir Julius.
Fancied himself as Lord Snowdon, perhaps.
Now, where's his pictures?
Where indeed? But you should ask yourself what, Lewis? What is the picture? What's out that window?
Just a sort of walkway and then the balustrade.
Just as I thought. Out you go. Anything heavy been hauled about out there?
No slates missing, nothing like that.
Whereabouts are we? Above the front or the back?
Back. Oh, hold on, here we are. Broken slate.
Recent?
Very.
Anything on the balustrade?
Well, few scratches. Nothing definite.
What's below there, exactly below?
Those bay trees by the steps.
All right, you can come in now.
Don't you want to check, sir?
Lewis. Well, that settles the first part of the case. Now we must get on and solve the murder.
What?
The boy, Meadows. But he was murdered, Lewis.
May I ask just what you think you're doing?
Getting the evidence to arrest you, Lady Hambry, for wasting police time. Trying to make your husband's suicide look like murder.
Perhaps we should discuss this downstairs. We didn't see the bloodstains in the dark last night.
No?
No, John found them this morning. Last night I found Julius lying here when I got back from London. There was a light on, the door was open. I thought perhaps he'd gone for a stroll before bed, but he was dead.
And what did you do then?
I fetched John. He was very good. He did what was necessary.
You mean... Let me get this quite clear, Lady Hambry. You found your husband lying dead, apparently having committed suicide, and then you asked McKendrick to hit him over the head to make it look like murder.
Yes.
And you then lugged the body over to the church.
No. John did that. He wheeled him in the barrow.
And then you and Mrs. Maltby and the girl, you all set to, trying to make it look like theft. Is that right?
Not Michelle. She's not one of the family.
Would you mind explaining to me why you went through this elaborate charade, madam?
Shall we go inside? I think Maltby's made tea. Of course, I suppose I was foolish to imagine I could ever get away with it.
I think you were, yes.
But it did seem so obviously the right thing to do at the time. Thank you so much, Maltby. How's Georgie?
Oh, she's waking up now, my lady. It was a pill that Michelle had given her.
What pill?
She showed me in the bathroom. Half a sleeping pill she'd given her to send her to sleep while she was making off. Can you imagine such a thing?
Do sit down, Inspector. Maltby, would you take the sergeant into the kitchen for his tea? The inspector and I would like to be on our own.
I'd like Sergeant Lewis to stay, if you don't mind, Lady Hambry.
You sure?
Quite sure.
Very well. Bring another cup, please, Maltby.
Very good, madam. Sleeping pills for children, I ask you.
China or Indian, Inspector?
Oh, Indian, please.
Milk and sugar?
Just a little milk, please.
My husband's life was very heavily insured. I was afraid if it was suicide, the claim might not be met.
The family's not exactly poor, is it?
There's plenty of land, but as to income... I have a son about to go to Eton, Inspector. I have another son at prep school, and I have my daughter's education to think of. And a house like this simply eats capital, you know. Last time we had the roof done, well...
You mean you did it simply for the money?
You prefer Indian too, I imagine.
Anything that's going. Milk and 2 sugars.
The fact is, I couldn't bear my children to think their father loved them so little he was prepared to let them suffer the scandal and disgrace of his suicide.
You thought murder less of a disgrace?
Of course. For the boys. Well, when I told them, they were very shocked, naturally, but I could see they thought it was rather exciting to have a murdered father. He wasn't very interested in his children, you know. A rather remote parent. I suppose I thought they might think better of him if...
Did Sir Julius leave a note?
Yes.
Where is it?
I destroyed it.
Would you like to give me an idea of its contents, then?
Well, I suppose it'll all come out in the end. The fact is, Inspector, I was planning to leave him. It had been brewing up for some time, but I only told him yesterday morning. I said I was not prepared to go and live in Courtney College as his mistress.
The head of Courtney is called the master, Lewis. So his wife is called his mistress.
Oh.
But he didn't know he was going to be master. The election wasn't until the afternoon. Anyway, it was a tie.
Was it? Nobody told me. How extraordinary. Did he know that?
Certainly.
Oh. Well, then, that must have been what tipped the balance. Oh, God, you do relieve me. No, that sounds so wicked, but... you see, I've been blaming myself entirely. And if he had this new, sudden, extra disappointment...
Did he mention it in his note?
No. Yes. Do you know, I don't remember. Besides, I took everything to refer to me and John.
John?
Yes. Didn't I say? Oh, yes, I'm going to live with John McKendrick.
It's all right. I scrubbed it out. As a matter of fact, I was up half the night cleaning up. It was just outside the door I missed.
What did you do with the pictures?
Hid 'em by the lake.
You went down there in the middle of the night?
In the barrow. It was getting quite light by then. And all for nothing.
All for love, as I understand it. What the hell does she see in you?
Can't think. Well, I suppose... Did she tell you? He'd lost interest.
Preferred looking at pictures.
Yeah. And you see, I love her very much. She's been just incredible.
And you think love's an excuse for crime? You have to come in for further questioning, McKendrick. I'll let you know when and where when I've consulted my superintendent as to the formal action to be taken against you. Meanwhile, make sure you stay in and around the house, all right? And keep away from your lady friend.
But
I don't want you and Lady Hambry concocting some other cock and bull story till I've got this one straight.
What's all this about the superintendent?
A ruse, Lewis, a ruse.
What, you mean it wasn't suicide?
I don't know. If Sir Julius had lost sexual interest, why was he upset enough to kill himself? But I tell you one thing. They've got us thinking the way they want us to think. And I never like obliging the nobility. I warned you they'd use us for their own ends. What those ends are, something to do with the blackmail, must be. But what was the blackmail about? Why did they need to kill the boy? Oh. Exactly. Let's take another look at that studio. I'll tell you something. If it wasn't suicide, they must have killed him up here.
Why's that?
The stairs, Lewis. Think of the effort dragging a dead man up here.
Nearly used his barrow. Used it for everything else.
Clean, well-lighted place. I don't believe it.
Where's the dark room?
Well done, Lewis. Where is it?
Through here. Looks like this has never been used either.
McKendrick cleaning up again.
No, there's nothing here. Oh, wait a minute, what's this?
Blank bit of paper. Still, it proves someone has used.
It's not blank.
Ah, the missing slave girl. What a figure. Victorians like to idealize women, Lewis. No girl ever really looked like that, alas.
Yeah, she did. She does. That's not art. That's Michelle Rayage. Nice touch, that. Lowering the flag on the house.
It's what happened at Harrow whenever a famous old boy died. Thought we should do the same for Julius. He set a lot of store by things like that.
Beautiful.
If you like that sort of thing.
I think it's very tasteful.
Very tasty. And very expensive. Like all tarts.
This is appalling. I assume... I've known Julius Henry for 35 years. Unspeakable. Pornography.
I get to see a good deal of pornography in the course of my business, sir. Very nasty stuff, some of it too, but this sort of thing, pretty innocent. Idealized maidens, classical poses. That's exactly the same pose as the I.M.G.I.T.M slave girl.
Julius could hardly have thought it innocent if he agreed to pay blackmail. And to one of our own students.
This Roger Meadows, what was he like?
I didn't know him very well. He rather avoided the college authorities.
Good student?
No.
Was he poor financially as well as academically?
No. His father's an anaesthetist, I think, in Coventry. You don't still think that Edward Orman was involved, do you?
Oh, no, sir, not at all, no. I take it he'll be the next master now.
He's withdrawn his candidature.
Oh, really? Why?
He feels he doesn't have the confidence of the college. And he doesn't want to be master by default, as it were, just because Julius has...
dropped out.
You don't realize what this means to me, Inspector. We shall have to go through the whole procedure again. I shall have to stay on as master for another whole year.
Some people might envy you that.
But I got my retirement all planned. My wife and I were going to the Andes to look at orchids.